Hi, how's everybody doing tonight? I'm Josh, and this is Preparedness for the Average Family. Thanks for joining us if you're returning, and if you're new, welcome. Tonight we're going to be doing something a little different. I have a friend of mine here, Daniel.
Sir.
Marine, but it's okay.
Yeah, I'm all right. I don't know. He supplies me with enough crayons to be happy. I'm good.
I'm an Army retard, so it's all good. But we're going to try something a little different than I've been doing on the channel tonight. What we're going to be doing is introducing what a mutual assistance group is and the benefits of a mutual assistance group, in our opinion, and kind of discuss what Daniel brings to our mutual assistance group and his skill set, because I think it's a really interesting skill set that is often overlooked nowadays, and it can bring a lot of necessary skills and materials that we're going to want to use in situations where, you know, you may be broke or you not money or, you know, a grid down situation.
More of just we're looking economically.
Yeah.
It's going to be more difficult to get a hold of basic material.
Yes.
That is going to become more and more of an issue as time goes on. The only reason I come to that conclusion is because history does not lie.
No, it does not. Look at the Great Depression.
Framework of not only that, but we look at just the patterns of societies that are leading up to conflict. And it just repeats. It's rinse and repeat. So once we understand that, then we can look at certain skill sets within society that we do need that are going to actually produce benefits. And it's going to normally be outside of the regularity that we're used to.
Yes, fully agree. So to kind of start this discussion off, I brought Daniel here to discuss community. Right? As a human society, we're believers in community and what we call mutual assistance groups.
Yes.
So a mutual assistance group is basically a group of people that get together that form a unified goal and work as a community to support each other and help each other. Everybody brings different skill sets. And I get asked all the time, why is this important? Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when we were talking earlier today. It's just, you can either be lone wolf, which there's nothing wrong with being lone wolf, or you can have a support system and a community like we're called to be and have as human beings. But there's pros and cons to both the lone wolf and the mutual assistance groups.
Absolutely.
You want to kind of hit on some of that?
Yeah, so I think that we all, at a certain stage, usually the beginning stage, we have that lone wolf mentality, at least within the prepper community itself. When we're looking at
I see that,
being prepared, we start off lone wolf because the foundation of our thought process is fear. That's what we're running off of, is pure anxiety. Anticipation for something that's going to happen, and we don't know who to trust.
What do you think drives that fear?
Well, of course, everything that we ingest from
the news, all the stuff we see across social media.
Because the news has operated off of sensationalism for its entirety of its existence, and our podcasts are no different. Now we're sort of breaking the mold in that aspect where we're having normal conversations, and I find it a little bit more exhilarating to see calmness within the storm versus
people trying to pull us apart.
The world's going to end tomorrow, and then I need you to be panicked so you'll share this video. No, you need purpose. And that's the basis, the foundation of the community, is I don't have to stress about these certain things.
You don't have everything on you.
Exactly. So you in our community can handle logistics and communication. That is your primary skill set. Mine, a little bit different in the aspect of I can build the equipment that we're going to need for basic tasks, let alone going into, the full-on doomsday type of stuff where society's collapsed and we have no grid and we have to make everything for ourselves because we can't go to the store anymore. It's more of, hey, we're trying to complete this task and this failed. my backpack shoulder strap ripped off. Well,
I
who
know a
knows
guy.
how to sew? Like it's just a basic skill that's going to help you all around within your entire life. And it's going to actually take the responsibility off of your wallet to be able to repair.
Especially in this economy.
Yeah. And you can just refurbish old items that you have that are no longer needed.
Yeah.
So like if you have, for example, I know one of the pains, at least within my craft, especially if you're going for garments, is the cost of the certain items that you have to use. Buckles.
Absolutely.
Especially buckles. Zippers. Zippers can break your bank if you're looking at making a lot of things, or if you need a very large amount. And you can either take it from an old jacket, you can take it from...
Repurpose.
Absolutely. Luggage is a great one because luggage uses the same zippers that jackets do. And so,
And I think that's very beneficial for people to hear, because a lot of times I think people think, oh, this is going to buy new, buy. Think smart.
yes, slow down, take it easy on your wallet and see what you have at home. And you have this new skill set, or you have an extra skill set or somebody who has a skill set that can say, oh, well, hey, can you take this stuff and use it to build something
like
else?
we've done. Like I'm working on some of his radios, and he's done leather work for my family and I. And I think that's the big pro for a mutual assistance group and community in our eyes, right? We bring different abilities, capabilities, skill sets to the page. Another question I get asked all the time when I bring up, a mutual assistance group is, how do you form one?
Yeah, that can be difficult.
And I think it comes down to just, in my opinion, I don't know about yours, when it comes to a mutual assistance group, your family and your friends that are already there should be that first circle. And they're people that you already trust, you have a relationship with. And then outside of that, then you start building out your second circle, as it were. And that is going to be guys like Daniel and I who have grown over the past few months in our relationship with radios and leathercraft and skills. How you form one is just getting out there and meeting people, going to the range, I joined a ham radio club, met a lot of people there. That's another way. So there's opportunities wherever you go if you just meet the right people and you're willing to say, hey, how you doing? And let's go ahead and get into your skill set. We've kind of touched on it a little bit, but what is your specific skill set that you bring to our group, Daniel?
So, creating equipment, and my material of choice is leather, obviously. But the main reason why I ended up getting into this craft is you would go to the store and buy a really nice knife. And it comes with the weakest sheath that you can get. It's just put together super cheap. It's made out of your basic nylon. You know it's gonna fail. And I bet 90% of everybody out there has had something from the store built with that industrial nylon that has just given way. And I ended up getting so frustrated with that I gravitated more towards what material can I use, what medium can I use in order to build something that is going to last. This is one of my best examples of that. It took me maybe an hour to make this from raw leather to finished product, including the dyeing process, the snaps. There's a tiny bit of stitching on the inside of it. It was a single cut, single piece of leather. And I just made this to see if I could. And it was just expedient because I had just picked up the brand new knife, threw away the little sheath that came with it. And I have been pleasantly surprised. This has lasted over 6 months with very little wear and tear, just from normal day-to-day use. So
I always say necessity breeds ingenuity, you know?
It does, absolutely, it does. And I was using the thinnest leather that I have, and I am pleasantly surprised. It even has impressed me, even though I've worked with the medium for so long. I've been in the craft for about 15 years, just as a hobby. And now I'm starting to get to the point where I would be comfortable actually selling my products, because I know that they've lasted as long as they do. So yeah, I'll take a chance every once in a while, make something for myself that is not meant for anybody else, and I wouldn't plan on making it for anybody else, but I'm still pleasantly surprised because the material is very forgiving and extremely durable. It might be a little bit more expensive in the front end, but you're not going to have to worry about it failing. Number one thing that I love about this product, it doesn't burn.
Yeah.
It really can outlast a lot of things. You do have the responsibility of treating the material itself. It does require oil, and that's fortunately very cheap. And you could buy a gallon that's going to last you 15 years.
I keep on looking at one of these pieces, guys. This is something that like you would see on your old grandfather's hip or something like that, right?
Yeah,
Keep his tool, his knife. It's just the amount of skill that I see in this stuff. Could you talk a little bit about like the tools here?
Yeah. So even if you just want to get started, this is going to be your sewing machine. This is the easiest thing to get. It's not going to look as pretty as, say, the stitching that I have going on the belt or on the knife sheath. That's a different style. But if you need to mend something out in the field and you want to make sure that the thread that you're using is going to be up to the task of the repair itself, this costs maybe $15. And this weighs nothing, weighs absolutely nothing. And you could keep multiple needles in the back of it for multiple purposes. You can carry almost, I think this spool will hold somewhere between 30 and 40 yards of waxed thread. It's gonna last a ton of time. And weight, I know, is a consideration, especially within a prepper community, if you're going to put this in your go bag or your get home bag, whatever it is. But it's a very simple tool, very easy to use, very easy process in and of itself. You start getting into other techniques where you want the stitching to almost look like machine stitching, but you also want strength. Is going to be your saddle stitching. Saddle stitching is going to be a little bit more involved. You have your pattern cut out. You're going to make your stitch line, and then you're actually going to punch the holes first through the leather. Then once the pieces start coming together, you're going to saddle stitch it. Okay. Saddle stitching is the strongest stitch that you could ever do to anything, whether it's a garment, whether it's a holster, a sheath, a bag, it doesn't matter. Saddle stitching does not put the stress of holding the pieces together on the thread itself. The thread is going to be complementary to each other. Okay. Even though there's two strands still going through it, they never friction lock against themselves, which a normal sewing machine will do. Saddle stitching can basically only be done by hand, though. So that's kind of a benefit to the prepping community when you don't have electricity or something, you need them to stitch something. There you go. Absolutely. Now, I know you brought something else that I'm absolutely head over heels with this because I'm big into outdoors and camping, bushcraft, and this is just absolutely amazing. Yeah, so this is the biggest piece so far that I've had to make, and this backpack by far is going to outlast anything else I've ever bought. The amount that it cost me in material was maybe in total $65, $70. That's including the leather, that's including the dye, that's including the thread, the needles, the hardware, the buckles. The zippers, everything included. Now, it took me a long time to be able to construct this. But if I put this product itself toe to toe with, say, Camelback's gonna fail. This will not fail. So the benefits that I get from the extra investment of time is outweighing everything else. The patterns for these themselves are reusable. And I mean, I got this pattern itself is from Tandy Leather, costs about $30 online. You can use this pattern for any type of medium that you want. If you want to make this backpack more flexible, out of a different material, oiled canvas, duck cloth, anything like that, or a hybrid between duck cloth, leather, or just stuff that you have laying around the house, you can use just about anything with the same pattern.
It almost reminds me of like the Duluth Trading Co.
Yes,
packs.
absolutely. I love Duluth. Duluth is a great company. Great company.
All right, and I think there was one more thing that I really wanted to highlight, which to me, this is one of the reasons I want to learn this skill for preparedness, is to be able to make clothing.
Yes.
Your first base layer, your element of shelter. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And let's talk about what you're wearing.
Yeah, so this was the second or third full jacket that I've made. I've made jeans and a couple other pieces. My goal is to get to a point where almost everything that I wear, I have made. I just find it a little bit more interesting to be able to have that type of capability. The jacket itself, I have the freedom within the materials. So 90% of this jacket is all natural materials. It's either the leather itself for the outside shell, and this is real shearling, sheepskin, and the trade-off. It is pretty much one of the warmest jackets I have ever had the pleasure of wearing, but it is also the heaviest. So there's a little bit of a trade-off there. But the material itself is going to outlast and shelter me from the elements way, way easier than anything else. Now, the total cost for the materials to make a jacket, yeah, you're starting to get up there in a little bit in number. I think for this one in total, I was sitting around $200 to $250 worth of material to be able to actually make the jacket itself. But you can easily go down to REI and get a jacket that is going to have the same insulation value, going to be a fraction of the weight, but don't let it catch on fire.
Synthetics don't do well.
No, it's going to absolutely melt to your skin. Like that's
one of the reasons in
downsides.
One of the reasons in bushcraft we use cowhide leather gloves. We try to use wax canvas tarps, things like that near fire.
Absolutely, but the quality of the product itself, the end result is worth the extra time to learn the skill. And being able to have that skill and then going back to the community mindset, if someone needs a jacket or they need a pair of pants.
You're now that person that can do that.
I can. Like now our community, you don't have to outsource that. And then of course, when it comes down to cost, well, we like the barter system in communities as well.
Amen.
It's like, hey, I'm a little short on this. Maybe you have extra of it. All right, cool. I'll repair that.
Which is a future video on bartering.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, you know what, man? I really appreciate you being here and showing us this skill that is really pertinent. If you could do like a 30-second blurb on why you think your skill relates to preparedness or how it relates to preparedness and why it's important. Go.
I think that our society has its values a little bit inverted. We look at speed as the main component to profitability or to success. And I don't have that mentality. You slow down so that your quality can go sky high. This is also a dying art. And this skill has been used by humanity for thousands of years. There's a reason why it's survived for so long. And I think that we are naturally as a society moving back into the older skill sets, but we definitely need people to take a little bit more interest in those older skill sets. It's also very oddly, I'd almost say, therapeutic.
Okay.
Because when you put together a design, even if it's just crude, and by the end of the week you have a finished product, that gives you something back that money can't buy, that convenience itself can't buy. So it's well worth, whether your skill is going to be within leathercraft or sewing, cooking, communications, electronic, it doesn't matter. Healthcare, it doesn't matter. Slow down when you're actually going into the skill. That's what my biggest piece of advice would be, is slow down.
Okay. All right, man. Well, thanks again for joining us. Guys, we're actually going to be having an awesome short coming out soon, and it's going to be Daniel's workshop. He's invited us over there, so we're going to take a look at a bunch of cool tools because that is a priority of preparedness. A category for my family is tools. You got to have tools to maintain your equipment, and I think this is part of that. So we look forward to putting that short out here in the next couple of days. Daniel, thank you for joining in. I really appreciate it, brother.
Thank you for having me.
And as always, guys, remember, preparedness is a family matter.